Hello everyone! Today we'll dive into chapter 132 of Myst, Might, Mayhem, the direct continuation after the Manhwa's chapter 91. Let's begin!
After the tense confrontation came to an end, Mok Kyung-woon walked back to the Shadow Clan estate with an easy smile, as though nothing had happened. Moments earlier, he had been quietly communicating with Blue Spirit, his constant companion, and the only one who truly understood the cunning side of his nature. Together, they had decided to turn the strange situation with guard Go-chan to their advantage. Since Go-chan's soul had taken possession of Ha Che-rin's body, he was in a position to monitor the movements of others without arousing suspicion. Mok Kyung-woon was certain that despite Go-chan's obvious discomfort, the promise of eventually being transferred into a male body would be enough motivation for him to perform the task well. To Mok Kyung-woon, this was just one more calculated move in a much larger game. He knew countless eyes were watching him, not only from within the Shadow Clan, but also from rival factions that lurked in the dark. Unseen by him, two figures observed his departure from behind a wall some distance away. One was a short man with a thin goatee, the other a veiled woman wearing a bamboo hat. The woman was Wee So-yeon, the third disciple of the society leader, and she had been following Mok Kyung-woon with interest and caution ever since their first meeting. Only an hour earlier, she had learned through her network of informants that Mok Kyung-woon was in fact a hostage from the righteous faction, despite the fact that he had achieved the highest score during the trial at Corpseblood Valley. This revelation had unsettled her. When she had first encountered him, she thought he was a free talent, someone she might recruit into her own growing influence. She had even entrusted him with her personal identity tag, something she now regretted deeply. The fact that he was from the righteous faction complicated everything. In Wee So-yeon's eyes, Mok Kyung-woon was like a thorn lodged in bone. On one hand, he was dangerous to touch, a hostage whose presence could create political entanglements. On the other hand, he was too valuable to ignore. He had now become the disciple of the Shadow Clan master, the very figure who oversaw the information and spy networks of the entire society. Worse still, her senior brother, Jong Nung-ok, had also begun to set his sights on him. If she let Mok Kyung-woon slip away, she would be handing her rivals a weapon. Yet taking him in herself would bring risk she was not sure she could bear. Matters grew even more troubling when she recalled what Jong Nung-ok had said, that Mok Kyung-woon had already broken through to the peak realm, an achievement rare even among the most gifted martial artists. Only 2 days earlier, Wee So-yeon had personally assessed his strength and judged him at best to be at the very pinnacle of the peak realm, but nothing beyond it. He had not seemed to be hiding any of his ability at that time. The discrepancy was baffling. She knew Jong Nung-ok would not lie about someone he had only just met. That left only one option. She would need to test Mok Kyung-woon herself. If he truly had broken through in such a short span, then regardless of his origins, she would have no choice but to claim him for her side. Meanwhile, within the Shadow Clan estate, Mok Kyung-woon was escorted to his new residence by Sok-jung, one of the clan's seasoned guards. As a formal disciple, Mok Kyung-woon was given a separate building, complete with a private garden, 4 elite escorts, and 2 attendants. Outwardly, it was a gesture of honor, but Mok Kyung-woon saw through it immediately. With the ghost eye, he could measure their levels at a glance. The attendants, though called servants, were third-rate martial artists. The escorts were all first-rate. They were not here to serve him, but to watch him. This was the price of being a hostage and a new disciple of the Shadow Clan master. Mok Young-woon clicked his tongue inwardly. He had expected no less. The master would not so easily set aside his doubts, no matter how much promise his new disciple showed. Surveillance was natural, and Mok Young-woon accepted it, though acceptance did not mean obedience. When Sok-jung bowed to take his leave, Mok Young-woon invited him back inside for a private conversation. The request unsettled the guard, but since others were stationed nearby, he thought little harm could come of it. Once the doors closed, Mok Young-woon asked bluntly if Sok-jung intended to report everything about him to the clan master. The question caught the guard off guard. He tried to give a vague, loyal answer, but Mok Young-woon's smile sharpened. He insisted that Sok-jung only report what he permitted. The tension thickened immediately. To Sok-jung, this was arrogance bordering on madness. How could a hostage, even one who had just been made a disciple, dare to threaten the very one assigned to monitor him? Sok-jung made to leave and report the matter, but before he could reach the door, an invisible force dragged him forward and slammed him to the ground. Mok Young-woon stepped on his back, pinning him down as if he were nothing. Sok-jung struggled in shock. The pole had felt like the void-grasping technique, something only those near the pinnacle of the transcendent realm could perform. That was the domain of the five kings themselves. But this was no ordinary void-grasping. It was one of the 8 techniques of the destruction fist, the seizing art. Even so, the power it carried was overwhelming. Mok Young-woon bent close and spoke softly, yet the words struck harder than any blow. He recited Sok-jung's deepest desire, to marry his lover, another member of the escort corps, and one day live peacefully in a small estate on the outskirts of the city. Sok-jung froze in terror. He had never told this to anyone. How could Mok Young-woon know? Then came the threat. If his lover were to die, that dream would crumble with her. The implication was clear: obey or lose everything. Sok-jung's body shook with rage and fear, but he was powerless to resist. His strength and energy were already inferior, and Mok Young-woon pressed the advantage with ruthless calm. Then, before Sok-jung's eyes, a butterfly-shaped ornament clattered to the floor, the very same gift he had once given to his beloved. His mind reeled. Mok Young-woon had not left the room, and yet here was proof that he could reach beyond the walls. It felt less like intimidation and more like sorcery. The smiling face that loomed over him now seemed monstrous, eyes filled with malice that froze his spine. In that moment, Sok-jung broke. His only choice was submission. Mok Young-woon helped him to his feet, patting his back with mock gentleness, and instructed him to report only what he allowed. He was to tell the clan master that the second disciple of the society leader had visited, and that Mok Young-woon had politely declined his approach. Nothing more. No mention of fights, no mention of strange displays of power. With his legs trembling, Sok-jung staggered out of the residence. The escorts stationed outside were surprised to see him pale and shaken. They insisted Mok Young-woon had never left the room, which only deepened the horror in Sok-jung's heart. He muttered excuses about feeling unwell and left quickly, desperate to escape the oppressive presence inside. Back within the residence, Mok Young-woon emerged to greet the others with the same warm smile he always wore. His demeanor was that of a friendly new disciple, even offering to share tea with the guards who would be serving alongside him. To them, he appeared courteous and approachable. But to Sok-jung, who had just fled, Mok Young-woon was no ordinary young man. He was a monster wrapped in the skin of a smiling youth, hiding claws sharper than anyone dared to imagine.
That was chapter 132 of Myst, Might, Mayhem. If you want to see what happens next, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss the next chapter. See you soon.